Hi, lawyers and law students around the world. How are you? I'm Catherine. I'm the director of Cambridge Law Studio, which is a specialist legal English school in the UK. I was one of the founders of TOLS. I always apologise for that because it's a hard exam. Download our free vocabulary PDF. It's a new one. This is based on letters D, E, F from this book. This is our essential A to Z of business law, and the PDF is exactly as it appears in the book, letters D, E, F. So download, get studying, it'll help you a lot. Welcome to our quick legal English vocabulary class. Defective. The adjective defective is important to lawyers who work with contracts. In contracts where the parties are buying or selling something, for example, goods, such as electronic goods, the buyer will have rights under the contract if the goods are defective. Now, this means that the buyer signs a contract to buy electronic goods, they are delivered, and when the buyer looks at the goods, they're defective, which means there's something badly wrong with them. If something such as a laptop is defective, when it leaves the factory, it means that it was made imperfectly. In other words, from the moment it was made, it contained faults and it did not work properly. A lawyer for the buyer of that laptop would describe it as defective goods. Now, that word goods, very quickly, we've got one laptop, but there's a plural S on the end of goods. And that's because in the UK, it's an uncountable noun. So this one book is goods with an S. Sometimes you hear international lawyers speaking about a good or two goods. You can say two goods, yeah, but you can't say good. It sounds a bit weird. So one laptop that doesn't work properly is defective goods. Most commercial contracts for the sale of goods contain a provision about what the parties will do if the buyer receives defective goods. For example, my business bought 100 laptops from a manufacturer. However, when my employees try to use them, 50 of them do not work. So these 100 laptops, immediately out of the box, power it up, switch it on, nothing happens. That means when it left the factory where it was made, it already had a problem. It was defective. Now, there will be a provision which tells me how many days after delivery I have in which to inform the seller that the goods are defective. The contract will also state the precise method of returning the defective goods to the seller and who will pay for that process. So to go back to our example, I bought 100 laptops and 50 of them immediately out of the box, they just don't work. So what I must do is go back to the contract and find the right provision that tells me what to do under these circumstances. Provision means provided in the contract. It just means something that's written in the contract. So we go to what we will do if there are defective goods. Let's imagine the seller has told me I have 7 days to inform the seller that the goods which have been delivered are defective. That might be 7 business days, or it might be 7 calendar days. We don't know, but the contract will tell you which one it is. I can't wait 30 days and say, hey, these things are defective. The contract tells me I have 7, and for 100 laptops, that's probably reasonable, and a court would think that a reasonable provision. This is interesting. I now have to return 50 laptops to the seller. The contract will also state, if it's a good contract, who will pay for that process. Now, that might depend on the Incoterm. An Incoterm, as you probably know, is an internationally recognised term for who pays for things like transport, insurance, etc. So depending on the Incoterm, the seller might pay for the return. I really hope it wouldn't be me, and it probably wouldn't be. It's usually the seller who covers that cost. How is defective different from damaged? These two words are not synonyms, and they have very different consequences in real life. So this is important. If goods are damaged when they arrive with that should say buyer, something bad happened to them on their journey. I do apologise, I typed that. Let me say it again. If goods are damaged when they arrive with the buyer, something bad happened to them on their journey between the seller and the buyer. Maybe they got wet, maybe they were dropped, but something happened, and you can usually see that kind of damage as soon as you open the box. However, if the goods are defective when they arrive with the buyer, they were never perfect. I do apologise, I'll repeat it. If the goods are defective when they arrive with the buyer, they were never perfect. They were not manufactured correctly, although they may look perfect. And although I may look perfect, look what I did there. Substitute seller for buyer, and you're ready to go. Congratulations, you can now use the word defective like a legal professional. To practice these words and more for free, you can download our PDF, which on this video is letters DEF from this book. And I promise you, in this book, I know the difference between buyer and seller. I just need more coffee. Thank you very much, and bye for now.